It's one thing to read about a place. It's an entirely different experience to stand there. I'm standing on what has been accepted for thousands of years as Mount Sinai, the place where God spoke to Moses and gave him the 10 Commandments. It's been 3 months since God parted the Red Sea and the Israelites got to escape from Egypt. And now as they're camped down at the bottom of Mount Sinai here, God calls Moses up. And as I stand here, it's just an amazing thing for me to think about what Moses saw. We miss so much of the human realities, so much of the pain and difficulty, blood, sweat, and tears of what it meant to follow God back then, because we read in a couple of sentences something that took everything in them to do. First of all, Moses was over 80 years old, and he's having to climb this crazy, treacherous, and difficult mountain. And I climbed this morning. This is no easy adventure. Look at this place. It's rocky, it's steep. And I've never thought about this with Moses. You think, oh, he climbed the mountain, he's talking to God, what a lucky guy. But, you know, it's freezing right now. I know it looks beautiful. You can see the brightness of the sun. I've got all these layers on and I'm just cold. And Moses had to experience those realities too. And I think about where he was at in his life, and I can't even comprehend it. He'd been a shepherd for years, and all of a sudden God asked him to lead, all of his people out of Egypt. He had to go back to Egypt, face down Pharaoh, and all that entailed. But then Moses has to deal with, the people. They have to have water, and they're not happy, and they have to have food. All these kind of things are going down, and I can't imagine the weight that was on his shoulders. But I also think about the spiritual pressure. He's also up here alone on this mountain facing God. And God wasn't just, speaking in that still small voice. God consumed this mountain in a cloud and in burning fire. When you read the story, it says that Mount Sinai literally shook and trembled, and God had trumpets blowing. This was a place where all of God's power and majesty was being displayed, and the people of Israel wanted nothing to do with it. They literally were afraid of it. And they said, Moses, you go face God for us. Just tell us what he says. And think about Moses. He too was a human being. And while everybody else wanted to stay away, he walked right into the cloud and right into the fire, and God gave him those 10 Commandments because Moses was willing to carry the burden of these people, and Moses was willing to answer the call of God, and Moses was willing to hear God's words and then deliver them to us.